Alrighty guys, Craig the Glasgow Geek here with another video, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Cryogenics can from Jurassic Park from Paragon FX. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. It just arrived today, and as soon as I opened this up I knew I had to do a video on it, and surprisingly nobody else has done a video on this thing. So for all intents and purposes, as far as I know, this is the very first video of someone actually opening this thing up and having a look at it on YouTube. This thing is gorgeous. Before we get into the can itself, let's have a quick look at the box. You can see here, do not throw this out. This is the box that it comes in. The reason why you want to keep this is because you can see that it's got your number, right? It's got your actual number of your particular can on here. So it is a limited edition prop. Only 3,500 of them made. Mine's is number 1,655. So you want to keep this box. Do not throw it out, because this is the only place where you'll see what number your can is, right? There is a certificate of authenticity here. I've got it laid out here. It comes in this little baggie. But that doesn't actually have your number on it, and nowhere on the can does it have your number either. So you're going to want to keep this box. Talking about boxes, let's have a quick look at this, right? So this is the actual box that it comes in. It has this really nice kind of vinyl layer on top, so it has this nice kind of premium feel. It's very smooth. It's almost kind of got a kind of rubbery feel to it, almost, the box. This is just the lid, right? You can see it has this nice kind of detail that goes all the way around, and it continues on the back when, you know, when the two halves of the box are put together as well, so it looks like one complete, you know, kind of army locker box thing. Jurassic Park logo, obviously it says there, Biosyn DNA containment, Cryogenics canister, handled with care, Paragon FX, vial DNA specimens within. This is the actual kind of base of the box here, so you see again some of those nice details, like I said, on the back as well. The interior has this nice actual kind of foam insert which hugs your can in there nice and securely, so it doesn't get rattled about whilst it is being stored in here. Has obviously some other wee bits and pieces just to kind of sit on top of there whilst this inside it, just to again stop it from rattling about. The actual can sits inside this baggie, which is then inside. So Paragon really done a wonderful job of protecting and, you know, ensuring that this thing gets to you as securely and as, you know, safely as possible. But it's a wonderful, tidy, neat, compact little box. No unnecessary, you know, use of space. It's tight, compact, and it holds onto your can, and that's exactly what you want it to. Some other wee bits and pieces to note here. It comes with this here. This is basically just to tell you that these little tubes in the centrifuge are tight fitting within these little holes here. That is by design. It's to stop them so that they don't just kind of spring up all over the place, like, you know, I don't know, what is it, pop-up pirate or something like that, like when this is activated, so these things don't just fly out all over the place. That will loosen over time, it says. Also comes with these as well, so you see that you have the actual little stickers for the vials. I haven't put mine on yet because, like I said, I've just opened this up. I would have liked these to have been on these test tubes, just because I'm not the greatest at applying stickers, and then also because I feel like now if I take these off, that somehow means now that I've ruined this in some way, like it's no longer mint or what have you. So, you know, it is what it is. It's up to you. You put them on, you keep them off. It's fine. I don't think it looks too bad without them, but if I'm wanting that screen accurate look, I'm going to have to put these stickers on. And speaking of screen accuracy, speaking of details, Paragon FX have even went a stage further, and they've even included these. Now, these are little labels which can be found on the actual screen used prop sitting in the Universal Archives. So these are obviously stored away in some kind of big warehouse like what you see in Indiana Jones. And these little tags are actually attached to the props themselves. You can see it here in this picture. This is the actual screen used prop, I believe. So these little, you know, tabs sit on here as a way of identifying the prop, you know, the film that it's from and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that they've even replicated these as well just shows you how committed Paragon FX are to replicating. Even just the fact that they've done this is just a wonderful detail. And obviously you get two of those, one for the actual can and then obviously for the centrifuge itself. Moving on to the centrifuge, you see here, if I get down on my knees in my kitchen here, really, really nice. CNC'd aluminium as well, so this has a wonderful heft to it, very, very heavy. You can see here as well just all those gorgeous details here, all those little kind of holes and divots, and just even here as well, You see it's got these little spines that kind of go up, down and round, and that hugs each of the vials here. And that was actually a detail that I never realised was on the prop until I've seen this here and gotten it in my hands. So I've watched Jurassic Park hundreds of times. I literally at one point in my life had that film on repeat, right? And this is the very first time that I've noticed this detail, which is what you want from a really great replica. You want to be able to see the details that you haven't been able to notice or see in the film, and this just is it's just delivering more than what I ever thought. I thought I knew what I was getting into with this, and as soon as I've opened it out of the box, I've discovered new things, and it's just given me a much deeper love for this particular prop. You can see here I've taken out one of the little vials already. These are, like it says in the certificate, a little hard to get out of here. They are a little bit, you do feel like you're tearing on something here to get these out. Once they're out though, they're fine. You can unscrew this, fill it up with water and a little bit of yellow food colouring, and then that way you get that look from the film as well. I'm okay, keeping this as is, but you can see here if I just push this in, and there we go, right? It's as easy as that. You get them in. It's a bit difficult to get them out. That's what she said. So one of the other things that this thing does as well is, of course, press down, twist, and you can see there that it locks, and then you can just give it a little turn and it springs up. Wonderful. Any prop replica of this can should have this, right? And most of them do, but the fact that they again have replicated that functionality really helps you feel like you own the prop from the film itself. It helps you feel like part of that world. It helps replicate the feeling, not just the looks. And that's exactly what Paragon set out to do with their props. They want to replicate the feel of using these things, and that's what this does for me. This thing is just delivering and scratching that geeky itch, man, and I'm so happy to have this. Moving on to the actual can itself, of course, it's Barbasol Can. So you can see there it's got that lovely navy blue, so navy in fact that it almost looks black on camera. Of course, Barbasol, the red stripes. It's got all the right details on it here. Some people, when they replicate this, they use modern Barbasol labels, or they use one that looks very similar to this, but it has like www.barbasol.com on it or what have you, which of course isn't accurate because at that point they wouldn't have had their own kind of website or what have you. They wouldn't have advertised a website on their cans. So this is, accurate down to the last detail, down to the font, down to the barcode. This thing is, there's only so much you can wax lyrical about a shaving foam can, but just this is so intrinsic and so important to the events of the film that it almost becomes a character in itself, and it's just part of the iconography of Jurassic Park. And having it replicated so expertly is just so wonderful to have, to own, and to see and to hold. It's beautiful. The actual can, of course, can slide on top of the centrifuge here, so that just kind of plonks down there. Beautiful. Not the snuggest of fits. You can see here, if I lift this, you can see it starts to come out of there already, but that's because of the weight of this centrifuge, this rack. It is very, very heavy, so if you try and lift it up from here, you can see you're just going to, it's just going to lift off up there, but if you grab it from the bottom and support it with your fingers, you can see here, you can hold it and it gives you that completed look. Really, really nice here. The only thing I'd say about this can as well, if I just quickly take this back off, you can see the actual metal of the can itself is very, very thin. So you want to make sure that when you're holding this, you're being ginger with it. You're not being, you're not just going tearing on it here. I don't feel like I'm going to damage it in any way, but if I were to really just squeeze this thing, it would just bend it all out of shape. So you just want to make sure that you're being careful when you're applying it, when you're lifting it up, when you're holding it, that you're not just like, unnecessarily pinching it too hard in any places. And then that way you end up with a kind of ruined can here. Really, really lovely detail here on this thing. This thing is gorgeous. I'm so happy to have this. I've also got here, I quickly ran up the stairs and I got this, which is my old replica Barbasol can. This is the very first one I ever owned. This one has sat in my collection for about 4 or 5 years now. I've been super happy with this. But as soon as I kind of realised that this was kind of missing some, key details that made this, I would probably say this was like 95% accurate to the film, whereas this is like 98, right? 99. You're never going to get 100% without owning the actual screen use prop, as Adam Savage says. So this is 99%, this is like 95%, right? Looking at the centrifuges here, you can see that there are some differences. So obviously you can see that it's kind of, especially up towards the top, you can see here the rack sits up much higher, whereas this obviously sits a little bit lower. You can see it's more rounded at the top here, a more pronounced thread here rather than here. The other thing as well is with this one is missing. So if I quickly just go tearing on this here, take out one of those little things, you can see that it's missing those little spines. See there? It's missing that. Other than that though, yeah, this was obviously a wonderful attempt at replicating this. Whoever made this, you know, really put a lot of effort into it. But this, of course, is based on measurements and pictures taken of the actual screen use prop. So this is, you know, grade A attempt, but this is obviously much closer to what you're going to see in the film. Slightly thinner here in these bands. These are much thicker. This is thinner. And of course, these have the labels on it, which I applied myself. Like I said, I probably will end up doing it there, but just not done it just now. Looking at the Barbasol cans themselves, if I just quickly get the centrifuges out of the way, so you can see here we've got the Paragon FX here on the right, and the original kind of prop that I purchased or on the left. You can see a slight difference in the fonts, especially here where it says original. And then of course, you know, up towards the top, this one's a slightly brighter colour, whereas this one is much darker, it's more retro. It's the correct size can as well, 11 ounce instead of 10 ounce. You can see here as well, this says 312 grams, whereas this one doesn't have that. So again, just tying it, it's these small things that make the difference, right? Doesn't have that in the film, doesn't have it on this, right? You can see it more clearly here as well, for some reason, this change in the colour, right? This is so navy, it's almost black. Whereas this is so navy, it's more blue, right? So this has got a much bluer kind of navy on it. This one as well, because this is a kind of, someone's replicated this is just a sticker that's on here. So if I really wanted to, you could see I could probably bend this. I could peel this sticker off. See that? See how that's just coming away from there, right? With this though, this is tampoed onto the metal. So if I went under there with my fingernail or something like that, I couldn't pick that off. That isn't a sticker, that's tampoed onto the metal. So the longevity of this one in particular is obviously improved there as well. Looking at the two side by side, you'll also see that this one sits a bit higher. You can see here this dome is much flatter here than it is on this. This is more pronounced. And then the other thing as well here, retro kind of old cans from the 90s just had this straight edge that went right up to the top. Modern cans now tend to come up and then they have this little dip up top here. See that? See how it kind of has this shoulder on it here? So it kind of comes out and kind of dips into the collar. Whereas this just goes straight up. That was another thing that I noticed, that, you know, once I noticed it really bugged me. Like I said, I was super happy to have this in collection. I would never say that I regretted ever buying this thing because it filled that Barbasol can shaped hole in my collection. But this thing is just, it's just spectacular. This won't be for everyone. It is expensive. You know, taking into consideration, not taking into consideration exchange rates and stuff like that, this thing cost me about £300. When I bought this was about 200, right? So not the most wallet friendly thing to have to buy, but if you have the money to treat yourself, if you are a diehard Jurassic Park fan, and you're looking for a Barbasol can, this is the one to go for. If you can't get this is perfectly passable. Like I said, super happy to have had this in my collection for as long as I have. I probably will end up selling this, but this one is just, it has all the details that I wanted from the Barbasol can, down to all these details, all these little things that I know. And I know everybody wouldn't, you know, you show this to someone on a galloping horse, they're going to think it's two of the same thing, right? But I know the differences between these two cans. I know the difference. And having an officially licensed Barbasol Cryogenics can in my collection that meets those detail standards is just, it scratches that itch. I am so happy to have this and to own this, and the fact that it's limited as well to 3,500 pieces just makes it feel all that more special. I feel like I own something that's just, it's a part of, and especially, you know, the fact that it has the 30th anniversary branding on the box as well. It's celebrating the iconography and just the appeal, and yeah, celebrating the film itself. That film is such a key part of who I am. I love that film so much. It's my desert island movie. So having this, it means the world. I love this thing so much, and this will set pride of place in my Jurassic Park collection. If you have the money to treat yourself, highly suggest you do, because I want you to feel what I feel with this thing. This thing is gorgeous. Really super happy to have this in my collection. You will be too if you are in a position to get this yourself. In the meantime though, I don't post things very often, but when I do, it's for cool stuff like this. So if you like this, please leave a like, comment, let me know what you think. If you've got this yourself, you know, what number are you? Let's have a competition. Let's see who's got lower, right? That's always the thing. You want a lower number. So who's got 1993? That's what I want to know. Well, was it 1993? Good grief, I can't even remember whatever year it was anyway. I'm pretty sure it was 1993. Was it 1993? Yeah, 1993. I knew it. Check the label. See? Anyway, guys, if you like this, like I said, leave a like. Consider subscribing. Like I said, I've got other wee bits and pieces from Jurassic Park that I've done videos for in the past. This thing is amazing. Super excited to see what Paragon FX do in the future with their Jurassic Park license. I know they've done a Hammond cane. I've got a Hammond cane, which I'm really happy with, so I didn't feel the need to get that. But they are doing night vision goggles, so looks like I'm going to be putting myself in that interest list. In the meantime, guys, like I said, all the best. And, oh, one last thing. No menthol. Gutted.